my pajamas in this video because I can't be bothered. So today we're going to start working on the Katara costume for the Avatar The Last Airbender group cosplay. So those of you familiar with my videos usually know that I will make costumes from scratch. However, today we're doing something different. We are altering a pre-existing cosplay. So this is a store-bought cosplay that is owned by the person who will be playing Katara in our group cosplay, and there's no reason to make a new costume when this one already exists. However, it doesn't fit right. It is much too long. The band is much too wide. It feels and looks very bulky. And the pants that come with it are also quite large and bulky, and so we want to slim these down. We want to make the dress shorter without losing the detail on the bottom, and we want to shorten the waistband. Then after that we're going to add boots. That will be we'll be making some boot covers, and we will also be making a water skin. I won't get to those parts today, but they will be included at the end, or they will be included in the video. To shorten the waistband, basically all I'm going to do is cut it just over half and get rid of the smaller piece, and then tuck the ends in and sew the new seam. So that should be really easy, especially because the Velcro is in two pieces instead of one piece. So yeah, let's get started on that part. Alright, so the waistband is done. That's all it took to fix that. So you can see now it doesn't look too different, except that it is much thinner of a waistband, and it should be 2.5 inches. Let's check that. And yep, it's almost exactly 2.5. So that makes it the same length, or the same width I should say, as the other white appliques at the top around the collar of the costume, which should make it look more uniform and be more comfortable to wear for our cosplayer. So yeah, let's put that back on the mannequin, see how much better it looks. Alright, so as you can see, like I said, this and this are now the same width, which helps it look a little better. Now what we need to do is adjust the length of this and probably open the side seams a little bit more. The problem with that is, though, that these little parts at the bottom, there we go, these parts are actually ironed on, not sewn, so I can't just seam rip it. What I'm going to do is to draw a straight line from the top of this to the top of that, and then cut across, so that the bottom piece from the front and back are both separate pieces that then I can trim and sew on at a higher spot to hem the dress, and then, like I said, probably open up the side seams a little bit higher. So let's get started on that part. Alright, so I have finished one side of that. I haven't done the other, but it's going to be exactly the same. So what I've ended up with is this. This fold in the middle, the horizontal fold in the middle, is where it folds at the bottom. So I am going to reconnect this higher up because I can't get the blue off of there. Like I said, it's an iron-on applique. And I don't want to mess up this perfect little water swirl. What I'm going to do is actually just stitch this whole thing onto the bottom of the dress where it's cut now, and yeah. So I'm going to do the other side. I'm not going to film that because it's exactly the same thing you just watched, and then we'll get to the sewing these parts back onto the shorter version of the dress. Okay, so what I have done is I have finished cutting both of these parts off, and then I took a lighter and I singed the edges because it was fraying, so that I wouldn't have frayed edges on that part, and so that should protect the applique. When I connect these, I'm going to do it on the seam right there and go across to the seam here, and then I will just be top stitching the applique parts onto the blue part of the dress. So I have both of those done. The other things I have done is I also singed the blue, the edge of the blue there, because this dress was, the pieces were cut along the bias, so it has diagonal strings coming out instead of one that's going straight. So it was fraying a lot. I needed to stop that. So I did that on the front and the back. Then I opened up the side seams 6 inches on each side, and I have pinned the serged part down, and I'm just going to stitch along those parts. And then the zipper goes to here normally. It's a side seam zipper. But I cut off the excess part of the zipper, and I will be stitching these parts to either side so that they do not become visible. And that should be the main thing with finishing this dress. Yeah, let's get started with that. Alright, so I've finished all of that. Let's get it back on Fredwina and put the sash on and see how much improved it is. Alright, so, oh, I forgot I haven't folded that back up on the bottom. Alright, now that I've got that all figured out, so there's the dress alterations, and they were all pretty easy. Just cutting the sash in half, moving the bottom of the skirt by getting rid of some of the excess at the bottom, and as you can see, it has a pretty professional looking result. It doesn't change the look of the cosplay too much, and I was able to move the side seams up or the splits on the sides up by 6 inches. I wanted to go higher than that, but I couldn't due to the zipper on the side. I didn't want to mess that up too much because I want the person who will wear this, my sister-in-law Samantha, to be able to get in and out of the costume. So yeah, the next thing that I need to do is adjust the pants. However, I won't be able to do that until Sam gets here for D&D tonight, and then after the campaign, if she can stay a little bit, I will get those pinned so that I can then alter them to be a little bit more slim fitting. Yeah, pretty easy project. Alright, so I didn't show this part, but I went through and I basted this so that when I take the shoes out of the boot covers, it will be easier to sew, because having lots of pins along the seams wasn't going to work. I'm going to trim this, and then I'm going to take the shoes out and run it through the machine. Okay, so I finished doing the same thing on the other boot as well, and then I pinned on, or I clipped on the zippers, and I pinned back the top flaps. I'm going to put buttons at the top, and I have the zipper zipping upwards. So yeah, I'm just gonna switch the sewing machine feet here and then put those together. Alright, so I forgot to do this part on camera, but I took some of this cording, what is this even called? Rat tail. Wow, that is not the best name. Okay, so I took some of this and I put a little loop at the top here. And then all I'm going to do is take this button and put it there so that this loops around the button, and I have marked where it needs to be on the person that's going to wear it, which is right at the edge, which means that my measurements for this were perfectly on. So yeah, there's one boot. The other one is also just as far done. So yeah, let's get this button sewn on. Alright, and there we have the boots for the Katara costume. They're too big for me, but they do fit the person who's going to be wearing them. So, yeah. There's that. Okay, now because the bottom of these shoes are made out of a thinner material, I'm going to take some scrap leather that I have and just stick it onto the bottom with hot glue. So, yeah. Okay, the next thing that needs to be done is Katara's little hair loopy accessories. So what I have here is the dreadlock beads that came when I ordered them for the Reattaching costume, and they are, pretty sure they're just brass, but I need them to be blue, so I'm going to paint them, and this is the same paint that I used for the arrow on my baby Ing costume. So yeah, let's get those painted, and those should be perfect for the parts in the front of Katara's hair do thing. The next thing that we're gonna have to do is the glove parts, and to do that I have some blue gloves that we're gonna cut the fingers off of, and the leftover fabric from the bottom of the original Katara dress that we altered. And what I'm going to do is take this, trying not to get paint on it. Oh man, these will probably need another layer, so I'm just gonna do that. So I'm gonna take this and measure it on the person's arm, on Sam's arm, and figure out what the wrist needs to be and what it needs to be closer to the elbow, and then mark that, sew it, hem it, add some Velcro, and sew it to the gloves. I also will probably be taking some string to the fingers of the gloves after I cut them so that they don't unravel. So yeah, that's the plan with that. Okay, so I have the wrist parts and the gloves I got at the dollar store. And so the trickiest part now is attaching these without ruining the elasticity of the gloves. Alright, there's that part. It doesn't fit my wrist, of course, because my wrist is a lot smaller. Just because I am basically a pixie. But yeah, there's that. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this glove. I'm probably not going to film it because you've just watched it. And then I need to cut the tips of the fingers of the gloves off. Alright, so here we have it. 2 gloves and gauntlets for Katara. I did not end up sewing around the end of the fingers because I'm afraid that will get rid of the elasticity that you need to get your fingers through. But yeah, it actually was not that tricky. Not as tricky as I thought it would be. Anyways, there's that part. Okay, so after talking to Sam and us looking at some reference pictures of Katara, we decided we're not going to take in the pants because her pants actually are quite puffy. But we do have one more prop to add, and that is the water skin. So I found this water bottle. It was $1 at Walmart. And we are going to make this into the water skin that can actually hold water, because that makes it way cooler than just like a random purse looking thing. So I
have this, and what I'm going to do is use the same material that I made the boots out of, which was a duvet cover from a thrift store. And I'm going to make a cover and put some of those like stripes that she has on her water skin on this as well, and make a strap. And that should be the end of the Katara costume, and then we'll have the grand reveal. Okay, so I have that strap and I turned it inside out. And the next thing we're going to do is connect it to this. And so we're going to connect it at the tip here. And up here, actually I'm going to invert that. There we go. So, down here, we're connecting right there. Up here, we're connecting right there. Why am I looking for pins there on my wrist? Alright, so I ended up just hand sewing the rest of that. What I did is I put a snap here so I can unsnap that, and then I did a whip stitch on the inside there. And then I have 4 snaps right on the back here so that the water bottle can be pulled out through the bottom. But yeah, so I've got the little stripes on there and the handle, and that's Katara's water skin. Now let's look at the whole costume together. Alright, so here's the finished costume. As you can tell, I had my baby. He's taking a nap, finally. Today's been a little rough. But that's besides the point. Okay, so here's the Katara costume. Up top we have the little hair things that go right here and here for her. Again, they're just the brass dreadlock beads left over from when I ordered the package for the Reattaching costume, and then I painted them blue. Actually, I'll just hold on to them. Then I've got the gloves. I pinned the gloves onto the sides here, so it kind of looks like there's arms. And then the water skin, which I just showed you, and again, we just took a pre-existing cosplay and we shortened this waistband, and we brought up the bottom because it was to here and now it's to here. And then I opened the side slits more. The boots and the pants. Yeah. So that's the Katara costume. I was going to have Sam model it for you, but she has been very busy with school, so I didn't want to inconvenience her. And yeah, tomorrow's Halloween. When I'm filming this, tomorrow's Halloween 2020, and that's it. That's the last costume of the 6. Anyways, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. I was uploading every week, and then I had my baby. I haven't uploaded in like 3.5, almost 4 weeks now, but that's because I'm trying to learn how to be a good mom and get stuff done. But yep, anyways, I will try to keep a more constant upload schedule. It just might take me a while to get into a new rhythm. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. You think I'm just sitting at my sewing machine. I'm actually being an excellent mother.